Good morning. You sound good. I'm the Reverend Rachael Hayes, minister of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Amherst. I use she, her pronouns. Welcome to you. Old friends and new, young and old, in the Zoom and in the sanctuary, you are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. You may notice that I take my mask off to speak and then put it back on again to sing. Any of our worship leaders who unmask have taken a COVID test this morning. Our congregation has made the choice to prioritize the vulnerable rather than the comfortable with our masking policy. It's part of how we take care of one another. Today, we celebrate Earth Day. The Green Sanctuary Committee of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Amherst works for better ecological stewardship within our congregation and beyond our walls. We are interconnected. Every year, they lead an Earth Day service to celebrate our call and commitment to live in harmony with Earth and all its beings. This year, the Green Sanctuary Committee has invited the Reverend Dr. Andrea Ayvazian to speak to us, and I am so excited. She's a longtime activist, teaching and working in the Valley. She's an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ, serving at Alden Baptist Church in Springfield. She is the director of the Sojourner Truth School for Social Change Leadership and a monthly columnist for the Daily Hampshire Gazette. Thank you for joining us today, Andrea.
I'm Sophie Rogers. I use she, her pronouns. I'm going to read a poem that I love. It's called My Church, and it's by our own Kate Dahlstead. My church today, arms outstretched, the open sky, a fair wind fluttering my face. I was blessed there among the congregation, birch and pine, maple and ash, chestnut and cherry. I melded with the earth and floated also in the sky. Big and all was I, and wide, all of me, swirling in the melody of spirits, dancing on the edge of grace. We light this flame to invite a world of peace, where we heal the wounds, where we share what we have with one another, where justice is another word for relationship, and we listen for what love has to say. Please join in our first hymn.
Down, down into the earth, my roots go down, down into the earth, my roots go down, down into the earth, my roots go down. I am a willow bending in the wind, I am a willow bending in the wind, I am a willow bending in the wind, my roots go down, my roots go down, down into the earth, my roots go down, down tall and bold. I am an oak tree tall and bold. I am an oak tree tall and bold. My roots go down. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down.
One more time.
My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down, down into the earth. My roots go down.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Coate, and I serve as the Director of Religious Education here. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I am going to invite the children to come forward if they would like. You're also welcome to remain in your seats. So if you want to do a little bit of acting something out, you can stay in your seats. And if you want to do a lot of acting something out, you're welcome to come up to the front. You're also welcome to not hit this very fancy choir mic. So today is Earth Day. And some of you, mostly the adults who I might have talked to, know that I went to a very small college on a small island in Maine called College of the Atlantic. And there are 300 students. We all major in human ecology, which is how people interact with their environment. And this was the very first thing that they had us do during orientation when I got to college. They had us all spread out on the grass, so give yourselves some room. Aaliyah, Alexa, you want to spread out a little bit from each other? And they said, I want you to imagine, so I'm going to ask you guys all to do this. You can do it with your hands, or you can do it with your whole body. But I want you to imagine that you either are or have an acorn that just dropped on the ground in a fall storm. And I want you to imagine that you got buried under some leaves, and there was maybe some snow, maybe some animals scampered around you, but they didn't find you. And that snow melted, and you, that tiny acorn, split. And little roots started going down into the earth. And shortly after those roots started going down into the earth, a tiny little shoot popped up out of the ground. And now I want you to imagine that tiny little shoot reaching for the sun, getting a little stronger, growing a little bit more each day, but such a tiny amount. Now, some seeds grow very quickly. Grass, bamboo, but some things, like acorns, they take a long time to get bigger. Little shoots become slightly bigger shoots. Eventually, there are some teeny tiny oak leaves. But after years and years, that tree grows from a little shoot and it grows up into a giant oak tree. What does a giant oak tree look like? Stand up. You're a giant oak tree and you're reaching for the sky, right? And so you look around you and you have a whole forest of oak trees, and all of you started as teeny tiny acorns. I know it's hard to keep your arms up. You can put them down if you want. So next time you're out walking around and you see a giant oak tree or a giant maple tree, or what? Just any kind of big tree? Yeah. Beech tree, sure. Next time you see one of those, I want you to think about all of the winters and summers and springs and falls that that tree has gone through and that that tree has seen. And I want you to imagine all of the things that you might have seen in just part of that tree's life. I'm so
grateful to be with you this morning. I'm very honored to be invited to offer the message this morning and touched that you would have me as part of your beautiful worship service. And I want to thank Susan and Steve Rice for helping me prepare for this morning, and Reverend Rachel Hayes for inviting me and sharing her pulpit, music stand pulpit. And I'm also aware that the Unitarian Society of Amherst has chosen to support the Sojourner Truth School for Social Change Leadership. And I'm the founder and director, and I'm here with one of our board members and staff members, Renee Moss. And on behalf of our staff and board, we are so grateful for your vote of confidence in our work and your generosity to our school. So thank you very much. Thank you for having me here today. I have many friends in the room. It's very sweet. It's very sweet. Let me bring over my props. The first Earth Day was celebrated on April 22nd, 1970. I was a student then at Oberlin College, and the whole college made a big deal out of that first Earth Day. I remember the rickety card tables dotting Tappan Square with petitions to sign, and samples of phosphate-free laundry detergent for us to grab up. You're nodding, you remember too. I remember the almost inedible granola cookies that seemed to have two ingredients, granola and glue. I remember the huge planet Earth beach ball that we tossed around, remember? Those of you my age, remember? I remember the first Earth Day. It was a big event. My friends and I pledged to be trustworthy stewards of this fragile planet. We swore we would reduce, reuse, and recycle. We had our marching orders. We knew what to do. We were fired up. We were committed. For 2 weeks, we all talked about Earth Day, and we referred to ourselves as environmental activists. Now, that was a new term then. We were visible, vocal, and vigilant. We raised our fists and our voices. We were into it. But then, just 2 weeks after Earth Day, on May 4th, 1970, the students at Kent State, 2 hours south of us, were shot while protesting the Vietnam War. We shut down Oberlin College, rented a fleet of U-Haul trucks, piled layers of hay in the back, climbed in those trucks, and went to march on Washington. Earth Day receded into the past. We reverted to being peace activists, which is how we identified before Earth Day. Earth Day was buried under the weight of our efforts to stop the war in Vietnam. I thought of that bit of history when I began to reflect on Earth Day 2023. Earth Day is now 53 years old, and it seems to be a big event some years and somewhat overlooked other years. The first Earth Day was a big deal, at least in my life, but the very next year, there was less attention. I was thinking about that when I took my green Bible off my bookshelf at home. The Green Bible is unique and fabulous. All the passages that have to do with God's creation or saving this good green earth are printed in green. As you flip through the Green Bible, you can literally see the passages that have anything to do with the environment. They jump out at you. They're all highlighted in green. What's noticeable right away when you open the Green Bible to the first book of the Bible, Genesis, and you look at the first page of the first book of the Bible, that page is entirely green. The Bible begins with beautiful images of God creating the natural world. There's wind and water, light and darkness, sky and land, sea and vegetation, plants yielding seed, fruit of every kind, trees in the garden, there's sun, moon, and stars, and living creatures and birds and fish and animals on the land of every kind. The first page of the Green Bible is entirely green, and the language captures a world that is lush and verdant, fertile and abundant. But what is striking about the Green Bible is that the beginning is all green, and then the Bible gets less and less green as the pages go by. All those green parts in Genesis are slowly eclipsed by family conflicts, competing clans, stories of slavery, and tales of war. Tribes are formed, battle lines are drawn, and the land is carved up into us and them. Caring for the earth is overshadowed by nations rising to power, kings forming kingdoms, resources being exploited, and wealth being amassed in the hands of a few. Palaces are built and temples erected. The land then becomes a resource to be plundered for its beautiful wood, radiant gems, sparkling jewels, and rare stone. God's people stop being caretakers and become consumers. The Green Bible certainly has many green parts throughout, but it is clear that after Genesis, where there are entirely green pages, something changes dramatically until you get to Revelation. Revelation, the last book of the Bible. Revelation has a lot of highlighted green sections, and it's no wonder. Revelation is an apocalyptic book. It imagines the future. Although I know it describes strange worlds and dreamlike visions, it also includes language about trees and nature and returning to the garden. So there we have it. Genesis is quite green in the Green Bible, and Revelation is also. But a good part of the Bible tells the story of humanity's preoccupation with power and wealth. And those chapters, they're not very green at all. The sections of the Bible that tell the story of human consumption and human failings are not very green. When humanity stumbles and drifts away from a spiritual connection to the presence of the divine, a sense that we are connected to a higher power and to all living things, and I mean all living things, then the Green Bible gets a lot less green. The lesson is clear. When we lose our moral compass, our feelings of awe and wonder, and stray from a spiritual sense that we are interconnected with all life and with a power greater than ourselves, we lose our connection to the natural world as well. Genesis tells the story of the beautiful Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve's connection with God and with the land. But once Adam and Eve leave the garden, they wander away from their role as stewards of the land, and they lose their identity as partners with God in caring for creation. Some scholars believe that humanity has been grieving that loss ever since. On some primal, existential level, we are grieving the loss of our connection to the land and to the garden. J.R. Tolkien said it well, and I quote, For certainly there was an Eden on this very unhappy earth. We all long for it, and we are constantly glimpsing it. Our whole nature at its best and least corrupted, its gentlest and most humane, is still soaked with the sense of exile. Soaked with the sense of exile. What does it mean to be soaked with the sense of exile? It means we feel lost, displaced, and grieving. We long. In exile, one longs for that which is lost, for that which is known and loved, for that which is called home. To solve the environmental crisis we are in today, we must find our way not back to the garden, but back home, to a sense of partnership, of stewardship in caring for this beautiful but broken world. We must, in the words of Wendell Berry, join our work to heaven's gift. I love that. We must again see this lush earth as a miraculous gift and join in the work of preserving and protecting creation. On the title page of the Green Bible, they have written out a Wendell Berry poem, and it's called Sabbath Poem 7. Listen now to his words. Wendell Berry in the Green Bible. The Clearing Rests in Song and Shade by Wendell Berry. The clearing rests in song and shade. It is a creature made by old light held in soil and leaf, by human joy and grief, by human work, fidelity of sight and stroke, by rain, by water on the parent stone. We join our work to heaven's gift, our hope to what is left, that field and woods at last agree in an economy of widest worth. High heaven's kingdom come on earth, imagine paradise, O dust arise. That, O dust arise, that's us. From dust we have come, to dust we shall return, but while alive on this fragile planet, let us arise. Let us reclaim our role as stewards, as caretakers of creation, and in doing so, we will join our work to heaven's gift. The evidence, and you know this, of the current environmental crisis is all around us. Droughts, fires, record-breaking high temperatures, flooding, atmospheric rivers, once-in-a-century snowstorms that happened once a week this past winter. More and more severe and unpredictable weather events resulting from global warming. It's like the earth is convulsing, groaning, and weeping. And in response to this crisis, we are offered an analysis that separates the physical world from the spiritual world. Don't buy it. The hard science about what is happening now with the environment and the spiritual guidance needed to solve the crisis are linked. We live in a world that is both material and spiritual. A world where a walk by the oxbow can and should take our breath away. A world where the eagles that take to flight at the Arcadia Wildlife Sanctuary are invitations to stand in reverential silence and recommit our lives to the care of creation. I believe that the environmental crisis we now face must be seen as a spiritual crisis. The current environmental crisis reflects a massive disruption in our relationship with a deep, reverential spirituality that calls us to awe and wonder, gratitude and humility, and a commitment to our role as earth stewards. When our relationship with our spirituality is broken, we in turn lose our connection to and our relationship with the land. The environmental crisis we now face is also a spiritual crisis. The book of Genesis shows us in image after image the exquisite design of creation, and it invites us to accept the privilege and the responsibility of caring for the astonishing natural world that is beautiful, fragile, alive, breathing, growing, and in need of protection. For some of us, our experience of God and our connection to the earth is in the end about relationships. In his 1972 masterpiece, Steps to an Ecology of Mind, Gregory Bateson wrote, "We live in a world that is only made of relationships." I agree, and I think that idea speaks to the very source of the environmental crisis we face today. As a people, we must cultivate a deep relationship with the natural world and the mystery of life, a sense of reverence when standing in front of an outcropping of birch trees, a feeling of gratitude when we sit by the ocean. We are meant to feel humble and small when we walk through the woods, and that is counter to the socialization most people who are multiply dominant, like me, have experienced. Folks who are white, heterosexual, middle-class, able-bodied, formally educated, and Christian, like me. People like me have been well socialized to feel large and powerful, to take up space, to consume resources, and to see interactions with others and with the natural world as transactional rather than relational. Feeling small and humble means we take our place in the family of things. Not more than our place, not less than our place, but our place in the family of things. Listen now to these final lines of Mary Oliver's poem, Wild Geese. My guess is you know, even with your masks on, I can see you smiling. My guess is you know this poem. Wild Geese, the final 5 lines. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. In his book that I mentioned, Gregory Bateson talks about, I quote, the pattern that connects. Those words are his guiding principle and his enduring legacy, the pattern that connects. It is impossible, Bateson writes, to explain any pattern by invoking a single quality. The division of things into parts is simply a convenience. That's Bates. Let me share that again. It is impossible, Bateson writes, to explain any pattern by invoking a single quality. The division of things into parts is simply a convenience. That is the essence for me. There is no division into parts. We are born with the spark of God inside us, as Quakers would say. We pulsate with divine spiritual energy. We take our place in the family of things, recognizing that we are part of this vast and extraordinary web of life, all life everywhere, from sharks and sheep to sparrows and sequoias. We carry divine energy within us. We are part of the spirit world, and the spirit world is part of nature. We are connected to nature. There is no separation. We live in a world that is only made of relationships, Bateson wrote, and we must see and honor the pattern that connects. He said, the division into parts is simply a convenience. My dear sisters and brothers, we need not live in a world of exile, longing for a relationship with Mother Earth, wanting to return to the garden, wishing for a way back home. We are called, as Wendell Berry says, to join our work to heaven's gift and strengthen our relationship with the divine energy within us and renew and cherish our relationship with the land. When we join our work to heaven's gift, we recommit over and over again to protecting creation. And then these words from the Hebrew scriptures hold great meaning. Isaiah 55:12. You shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. The mountains and the hills before you shall burst into song, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Amen.
Let us rise and sing together hymn number 163, For the Earth Forever Turning. Spirit of life and death, of connection and love, and every relationship between us. Once again, we show up to one another and to the call of our beloved Earth. Be with us in this moment as we reach out to one another, as we recommit our hearts of returning in relationship to the land and to all of its people and beings. May every hurt be healed. May every sorrow be held in care. May every celebration be amplified. May we know that we are called to love one another and to spread the love that we feel throughout the earth. Amen. I invite you to remain seated, except for our beloved choir, to lead us in singing one of our favorite hymns, number 1064 in that teal hymnal, Blue Boat Home.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of the community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thank you so much to Andrea for your beautiful words today. They're going to live with us for a long time, and we are so grateful. I invite you all to rise in body and spirit. Place your hands over your heart or reach out to someone near you as we sing our closing song.
And now, may the courage of the early morning's dawning, the strength of the eternal hills at noontime, the peace of open spaces at evening's ending, and the love of and for Mother Earth abide in your hearts now and forever. Go forth with joy, and may the trees of the field clap their hands. Amen.